Welcome to my latest video. Well, this is going to be a little bit different than some of the ones I've done lately. It's not a product review. I'm going to be talking about a technology and a tutorial related to that technology. What I'm going to cover today is USBs, or Universal Synchronous Bus Devices. We all know these devices today. We use them to, get memory sticks and put stuff on them and connect them to our PCs and to actually update or download software to a PC or even to a whole operating system. We also have special devices, things like a capture card, which you can put a HDMI in at one end and connect the other end to a USB and then use it for live streaming or as a camera or whatever else you'd like to do. And of course there are specialized devices like this one, which you can connect a SSD, or if you get a more powerful one, that has a secondary connector to it, an actual hard drive, and use it to connect to the USB and become an external storage device. Now, this discussion today is not on any particular application where the USBs get used. Just wanted to point that out. I will be talking about a little bit of history of it, and more importantly, I'm going to be talking about what is the main differences between all the different versions you may have heard about. In modern terms, there's USB 2.0, USB 3.0, USB 3.1, 3.2, and they're talking about USB 4. Let me go through that a little bit so we're all coming off the same perspective and baseline on this, okay? The USB today is managed, or the standards are set by an organization called USB.org. I'll do a quick little overlay here on the screen so you can look at their website. It's pretty easy to get there, but it's kind of hard to decipher a lot of the base information from it. You'll see a lot of proposed new standards and other things if you're interested in where this is going. It's a nonprofit organization, and they came into existence when USB 3.0 came into existence. They were the primary drivers behind that new standard that became USB 3.0. The original USB was USB nothing, or later it got coined USB 1.0. It came out in 1996, and its main intent was to improve the performance of peripherals that were connected to a PC. And these included things that were connected through a serial port called RS-232. And you can look that up. That's an actual standard that's been around for a long time, well before home PCs ever existed. The USB was supposed to also cover things eventually for devices connected through a parallel port. In its initial form it did not, but it later adapted into that as well. Now, with the original USB, there was a lot of implementation problems. In particular, since there was no standard organization behind it, every company sort of did their own little thing. They might have shared some basic information. Usually the manufacturer of a motherboard would share the information with peripheral manufacturers. But then when they went to a different motherboard manufacturer, it would slightly change. So it was really difficult to keep things work together well. Compatibility was a major problem. As a result, a lot of PC manufacturers did not want to adapt it at first. Then they sat down and had a few meetings, and they came up with a new version. And that was released just a couple of years later, and it was called USB 1.1. Many more manufacturers adopted it, the hardware and software, because it needed special software to do some of the functions that you wanted it to do. For example, connecting up a camera to your PC. So it was a major step forward, and the speed was also appropriately improved considerably, as I'll show you a little bit later. USB 2.0 came out in 2000, and this one had a significantly higher bandwidth, or the amount of traffic that can push through at one time per second. And this one was at 480 megabits per second, which exceeded the speed of any serial port of the time. But coming with USB 2.0 were some additional new types of connector. The original one was called the USB-A, this little rectangular one that I showed earlier. But then they had one that was more of a square, and actually had a little bit of adaptation to it with a little bit of a rounded edge to make it easier to plug in. But with that version, it was able to go to printing. So printers were now supported quite well with USB 2.0, and the speed was now at the point where it could work. They also released two other types of connectors called the mini USB and the micro USB. For example, the mini USB was used for connecting up power connectors. For example, this one here is a mini USB, and it will, let's say, power up some device that was connected to the other end. Now, since the current was still somewhat limited, you couldn't do too much with that. You couldn't recharge very large batteries unless you left it connected to your PC for like days before you could get enough current to charge the battery. It was meant for the smaller peripherals, maybe things like a GPS that would go into your car, for example, or specialized little radios that they sell for satellite communication if you had an emergency, for example. But it was an improvement, and it lasted up through today, because USB 2.0 is available in just about every PC that's sold today. It's the right connector, for example, if you're going to have a wired mouse or keyboard, for example. And then in January of 2008, that was a major change that took place. That's when USB 3.0 was released. That was mainly assisted by the existence of the new organization that companies had funded together called the USB.org. It had a major jump in bandwidth from the 2.0, from 480 megabits up to 5 gigabits, so more than 10 times the speed. It also came with a few changes in connectors. For example, they dropped the mini USB, but they retained the USB-A, the USB-B, although it looks different, as you will see, and the USB-C, which was what was meant to be the future direction of all connectors for USB. Now, the thing was that this is where the confusion also started to happen, because USB 3.0, it had two sub-releases to it. One was the USB 3.1, and the USB 3.1 Gen 1 was the same thing. It was just another name for USB 3.0. But shortly thereafter, they started getting into USB 3.2 Gen. But this USB 3.0 can be identified by those additional names. It's known as USB 3.0, but it can also be known as USB 3.1 Gen 1. It can also be known as USB 3.2 Gen 1 by 1. Now, there was an official release of a version 3.1, and initially it was called the same name as the 3.0, which is where a lot of the confusion came in. That's why they later came up with the 1 by 1s and 1 by 2s and all of that. This official USB 3.1 Gen 1 actually doubled the bandwidth over the 3.0. It went to 10 gigabits per second. It only had the USB-C connector available to it, but it was also recoined from the SuperSpeed to SuperSpeed Plus, and not all manufacturers did this. Only some of them actually decided to carry that sort of designation. It wasn't something that USB.org initially sanctioned. The real name for this one is USB 3.2 1 by 2. So the by 1, I guess, was 5 gigabytes. The by 2 was 10 gigabytes. This was a noticeable difference when they went to this particular version of it. And this was followed with USB 3.1 Gen 2. Now in Gen 2, it had the same bandwidth as the USB 3.1 Gen 1 of only 10 gigabits per second. However, now they added some additional connectors. They went back and re-added USB-A, and they added micro USB to this one as well. And this was also known as USB 2 by 1. So it's kind of hard to follow that designation, but they decided to switch from the previous designations over to this 1 by 1, 1 by 2, 2 by 1, 2 by 2, and that's, I think, as far as they got with the USB 3.1 anyway. Then there was another sub-release that came out, and this was USB 3.2 2 by 2. And again, it doubled the speed over the previous one, so it went up to 20 gigabits per second. However, they also did the same thing they had done earlier. They limited it to just USB-C connectors. And this will become the USB standard going forward, as I said earlier. That is, the USB-C connectors. Looking forward, they're in the process of finalizing the standard for USB 4. Have not heard about any 4.4 by 1s and 4 by 2s and so forth, so we're yet to find out how that works out. But I would suspect that they're probably going to do something very similar. And this one has, again, double the bandwidth over the previous version, so it can go as high as 40 gigabits per second. And again, only USB-C connector is currently proposed. So that's a basic history of where we came from on this. What I have here is a table that I decided to summarize everything in. In the left-hand column, I tell you what the original name was, and then I also tell you what it was also known as in the second column, and if it had any special designation. I didn't mention these earlier, but the original USB 1.0 eventually became known as the low speed. This is after the later version 1.1 was released, because that was called full speed. And then they had a 2.0, they called it high speed, as an example. And in the fourth column, you see the actual transfer rate differences. So hopefully this gives you a nice big picture of it. Let me talk a little bit now about some of the connectors that came out of it. I already mentioned some of it, but I want to show you some examples and some pictures of the different connectors, and maybe it'll also fill in another puzzle piece for you if you have some confusion about where things have come from and where they're going. Let's start with the USB-A connectors, the one that's most popular today. Well, there's two of those. The first one is the one that they used for versions 1 and 2. This particular picture I'm showing you has a white little insert to it to keep you from putting it in the wrong way, because the insert is leaning towards only one end of the little rectangle, so it won't go in the other way. However, what they decided to do with this connector when they went to USB 3.0, they decided that they had to give it a special color. Now, I show white here, but it also came in black, the one that was for versions 1 and 2. So you sometimes will see it with a white connector, sometimes you'll see it with a black connector. It varies depending on what you're looking at any particular time. For example, this one here is showing a black connector. But then for USB 3.0, they decided to go to a blue connector. Now let me show you what a blue connector looks like. And the real funny part about this is this device is not a USB 3.0 device. I tested it in one of my previous videos. But you can buy these connectors. So the manufacturer of this device decided to ignore the standard. And they wanted to hopefully not try to trick people into thinking that this is at the speed of a USB 3.0. It is only USB 2.0. Whereas other devices like this one that have a USB 3.0 connector, that one is USB 3.0, and a few other examples that I have here. The USB-B, which I said was initially set for printers, but now it's expanded well beyond printers. As a matter of fact, my 4K camera that I have up here from Nexus, that has a USB 3.0, USB-B 3.0 connector, and I'll show you that in a moment. The original USB-B connector, and this is for versions 1 and versions 2, well, not for version 1, version 2 only. There was no USB-B in version 1 or 1.1, so it's only version 2 that had this one. It has the white insert, and it looks like a square with a couple of the rounded edges to it, almost like a side of a house. But when they went to the 3.0, two things changed. They expanded the connector so it's actually wider. You can't accidentally slip a 3.0 connector into a 2.0 socket. It also has additional pins in there, so that extra opening at the top is not just to make it fit into a different connector, but it also has additional pins and transfers additional information through those pins between the device and the PC. Now the USB mini connectors, this is where things go a little bit crazy when it comes to connectors. Here is two different flavors of USB-B. One is called a Mini B and one is called a Mini A. They were supposed to be coined after the two versions of the A connectors where we had an A and a B, but in reality, there's no difference between those two really in terms of the number of pins or anything else in there. It just has different shaped connectors, and you really have to look carefully to see the subtle difference on this. But those connectors will not easily fit into the other connector, but if you force it, especially trying to put an A into the B connector, it will fit and it will probably damage things. So that's the mini connectors, which only existed for version 2. The USB-C, pretty straightforward. It has the same number of pins on both sides of it. That's why you can put it either direction. There's no up and down to this connector. And it can be used for signals and power. This is where it goes even crazier, the micro USB, which is actually pretty popular today. A lot of devices have that. For example, this camera that I'm looking at, as I said earlier, it gets its power and transfers data to and from the camera when you hardwire it to a PC through a USB micro connector. Now here are the ones for version 2. And again, just like with the mini connectors, there was one that was coined for the A and one coined for the B. Why they had to stick with that, I can't explain that, and I couldn't find any notices explaining that at all, other than they thought they had to be consistent, I guess. Again, the inserts that are in there are either white or black, but they made a special connector. This is totally unique for the version 3 micro USB, and I've never had a device that had this. I've only seen it in terms of devices I was looking at online, but as you can see, it's actually in two parts, similar to the one we looked at earlier, which was the USB-B connector, right? And that's it. Those are the different connectors that we have. So anyway, that's what I wanted to cover today. If you have any questions, just put them down in the comments and I'll see if I can get the answers for you. Hopefully I've relieved some of the confusion on this issue. So until the next time.